Have you ever desired to be more consistent on social media and maybe YouTube for your brand or business? And in your attempt of trying to be consistent, you failed? We all probably know that being consistent is really the main key to being successful online. And in this conversation, I'm excited to be breaking down the one unlock that I used in my business that allowed me to reach hundreds of thousands and even millions of people online with my videos. And I'm so excited to get into that. So let's get into it on today's Department. Welcome to the Department. It's Omar Altakori, your host, and I have with me the Department team. I have with me Art Mosqueda, who is my shredder, our shredder. And then I have with me Mariella Cruz, who is the operations, all the things person, and also is an Airbnb host. Are you officially an Airbnb host?
I'm officially an Airbnb host, yes.
No way.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Amazing. I do want to preface and say that this conversation podcast is brought to you by the Content to Cash Challenge, which is a 5-day virtual event that I put on for business owners, entrepreneurs, and creators so that they can learn how they can build their personal brands part-time and even learn how to make some money doing so. It's going to be a phenomenal time. And there's 2 ways you can join this event. The link is going to be in the description. I do want to highly encourage you to take the VIP experience where I avail myself for Q&A 5 days throughout that week. So every day you're going to get an hour of Q&A with me. And I've done a handful of these so far, and they're the best. Great, incredible testimonials from people who take the challenge. And I would encourage you, if you're somebody looking to take your content more serious, your personal brand more serious, take the Content to Cash Challenge that is coming up. But with that being said, I'm going to actually start from the beginning and just give you the actual thought that completely changed my thinking when I started to take my personal brand seriously. And I want to give credit to where credit is due. The person I heard this thought from, his name is Bradley. A very fun follow on social media. He has, I think, over 1 million followers on Instagram, has a great podcast. But here is the thought. The thought is this. Don't make content, just be the content. Don't make the content, be the content. The reason why you are inconsistent at uploading videos online is simply because you are trying too hard to make content. You're scripting videos. You're trying to come up with video ideas. And although that is powerful, and although that there are people that are really good at scripting videos and making videos, you are better off getting started and being consistent by being the content. When you first hear that phrase, what comes to mind?
Being the content, I think of like me being in front of the camera and being recorded and then posting that on social media. That's what I think of.
Yeah, that's good. But which one thing I want to say is that the beauty of this, and as we break down everything that surrounds this, philosophy, I guess you could say, or principle, is that this is how you don't have to look into the lens and create. So there's a lot to consider, but once you lock in on this, I promise you, this is gonna game change you. And when I implemented this strategy in my business, this was 2022. I had maybe 9,000 followers on Instagram. And by the end of 2022, I had, I think, close to 32,000 followers. And I wasn't making content. I was just being the content. And I was just filming myself doing the stuff. And so you don't have to look into the camera when you make content. And so much of people that listen and watch this podcast, they're doing the work. Like you're going to your office, you're meeting with clients, you're talking to people. And the thing is it's just not captured. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is, I think that people think they have to set aside time to like look into the lens and deliver videos and deliver content. And for some people that can be very intimidating at first. But we all probably can agree that if you're not like showing up digitally right now, you're going to date your business. You're going to date your brand. It reminds me of a story of, I remember our neighbor was getting their front lawn done. So they were changing the front of their house and they're putting turf and they put some steps and some rocks and I knew what it looked like before. And then I saw a couple days later how it looked like after. And I was looking at the truck that was outside their house, fixing the stuff. and they didn't have a business on their truck. They didn't have like their logo. They didn't have a phone number. They didn't have anything. All they had was like what they actually did. And in my mind, in Amanda's mind, my wife, she was saying, let's hire them. So like they didn't have the marketing stuff. They didn't like the work they were doing proved enough to us that we should just pay them to do it for us.
Because you saw the result in the front lawn.
Yeah. And I think there's like that kind of illustration, that story is the same thing that people can create digitally.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't need fancy logos and fancy colors and perfect content and like talking head and like all that stuff. No, you just need people to see that what you do lines up with what you say and that you are who you say you are. Like it's not so much that we're trying to create for people to perceive of us online. And so, yeah, it's so powerful when proof, as they say, the proof is in the pudding, right? I would say if you capture yourself doing the thing you do best, like the proof is already in that. It's like, what, are you faking meeting with clients? No, like I'm actually meeting with clients. I just so happen to, maybe you faked like the moment, you know, like, hey, can we just like shake hands one more time and you record that? But I want to break down some opportunities. Then we're going to get into some of the gear that I would recommend for people to use if you wanted to like step into this. And then we'll end with like the key to this whole thing working. So the first opportunity when it comes to being the content is to record yourself doing things without saying anything. So, you know, when I think about this, I think about it in the sense of if you are meeting with a client, and maybe my wife just helped my best friend from childhood sign his papers because he bought his first house, you know, and Amanda filming them sign papers, there was nobody talking, but the fact that she filmed them signing papers tells everybody when she posts that she helps people buy homes.
Mm-hmm. And gives her authority, like, oh, she knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just, and I mean, babe, you're good. I'm not calling you out, but I'm calling you out. But I was hoping that she would include people in the process while she was helping them find a house, because they looked at like 12 houses, like, and they looked at a ton, and it was just, they put in 4 offers. There was like so much that happened in the process between when they got started and when they actually bought a house, that like just showing part of that process, you know? And yeah. And so like in so many ways we do things like you edit video. Dude, let's just talk about a good example. You posted a reel that has like 230,000 views that you didn't talk on.
No.
That's a perfect example. So what did you do? Can you just break down that reel?
I just set up the camera of me setting up a podcast, and that was it. Like a podcast setup, and that was all I did.
And like it went crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And that video landed you a client.
Yeah.
Like didn't open up your mouth.
I didn't look into the camera
once. And just filmed yourself doing the thing that you already do on a regular basis.
Yeah.
This is like I think a lot of the times we underplay or undermine what we do.
Mm-hmm.
But the beautiful thing about social media is exposing the reality of what it is you do. You know, like the day-to-day of what it is to be a coach, the day-to-day of what it is to be an entrepreneur. There's just so much there. It's refreshing. Honestly, when people actually do this the right way, it creates this connection with people that follow you that just know what you're up to and know about you. And in all honesty, all marketing is it's both attracting and also repelling the people that you are to work with or not work with. That's marketing. Attracting the right people that you want to work with and also repelling people that you'll never work with. And when I think about people who just post what it is they do, my friend fights in the UFC. I think he could post more when he's in the gym and like the meals he's eating and like him being with his son. Like these things, like it doesn't matter what industry you're in. You can film yourself doing things without talking. And I feel like that's one huge opportunity.
For sure. No, yeah.
Yeah.
The second thing is filming yourself doing something while you say something.
So is that like you being in front of the camera?
It's not necessarily you being in front of the camera, but it is you, your audio, your mouth, your sound being captured.
So like a voiceover?
No.
I
love it. This is why I love that no, this is like I'm talking to somebody asks me a question and I answer that question to you, looking at you, and then that was captured.
Oh, so like when Art catches you in your Zoom calls, like on Tuesdays.
Zoom calls, yeah, and I'll go into that a little bit more deeper. But like, if you're ever in an element where you are opening up your mouth in your business, like that's a great piece of content. Like, I love what Myron Golden said. He was talking about building audiences. He's like, so if we break down the word audience, the word you get first is audio. You can't build an audience necessarily without audio. Like the way you build your audience truly is by I was gonna say by freaking, but I'm gonna chill out, is by talking, by like opening up your mouth and not talking to the camera, but like people seeing you in your element, you know, the way you talk to a client, the way you answer a question. You know, one of the things I have Art do when we go on a trip, let's say I speak at an event, a lot of times when I speak at an event, I'll go to the lobby and then I just get swarmed with people that want to shake hands, say thank you, but they also want to ask me questions. And Art's just rolling the entire time. I have a mic clipped in my shirt, and whatever questions that get asked can be clipped up as content to be posted on Instagram or YouTube Shorts. And it's cool because the question's already there. And there's dude, the reason why I love this is because there is beauty in, I've talked about this in the past, but conviction-based content where like you're talking from like a true, transparent, authentic place. You're not trying to perform necessarily, but you are giving this person the answer, and this person represents your audience digitally. So you might be in you know, actually physically together, but because it's captured, this person now represents somebody genuinely asking a question. And yeah, so I feel like what are times where you open up your mouth and like you're helping somebody do something, even person to person, like that can be captured and be used as content. That idea, there is a psychological pedestal that you get put on when there is a camera filming you do you.
What do you mean by that?
I mean exactly what I said. No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean when I show up on social media and I'm not looking into the camera making content, but there's a camera filming me and that gets posted, you in your mind are like, oh snap, they got a video team. Oh snap, they must be rolling. Like, oh, they must be killing on marketing and content. Like the whole first year I built my brand, it was all with me filming myself at a desk. But like, because I'm not looking into the camera, one would assume that I have a whole team behind me or like behind the camera filming me do the thing. It's like, no, I just set it up.
Because you're not looking into the camera.
Because I'm not looking at the camera. And so because you're being captured from that point of view, this is where like, you know, everyone always feels like, you know, and as time goes on, it does get more saturated, right? Like just more people have better quality, more people are just trying to be consistent, more people are making videos. But like there are things you can do with your attempt, like be the content that will just put you in another category. So that's why I don't like kind of backing up to like making videos or posting videos where like no one's talking. Like I give you my phone when we do things and I'm like, yo, just post videos of the room and move the camera around. Like, I don't know if like maybe you're listening or watching this. If you follow people that you really like, when they post stuff like that, you watch, you look, you're like, dude, who's there? Oh, dang, what are they, what are they saying? Like who?
You're being nosy.
Yeah, you're being nosy, anytime I see my friends maybe about to go speak on stage and they got their social media guy or girl with their phone filming them, get their mic on and stuff, I'm like, what are they wearing? Like, oh shoot, like how big is the audience? they're not talking to the camera. They're not saying, all right, guys, I'm about to jump on stage, blah, blah, blah. Like you could do that stuff, but I'm saying like, this is just an easy way to be consistent. Right. And maybe I'm saying like, you're like the limited belief people are like, well, that means I'm going to need another person. Well, the reality is if that, by me telling you this or you listening to this, that other person doesn't have to be uber talented. They don't need to know everything. They just need to capture everything.
Mhm.
Right. So that's like that. Yeah. That would say that's that part.
It
Yeah.
is crazy though, like seeing you start that, because I remember when you started posting the side angle clip of you at your desk, it started working. And then me and your friend Steve were like, dude, he's at like 12K now. And now he's at 15 and now
It was
he's at
just
20.
growing.
And we just saw you keep going. And all you were doing is posting the same style of clips, saying different things. But yeah, dude, it just like, it blew you up.
Yeah, it was a huge foundation. What it did was I think what it did for me personally is it proved my authority.
Yeah.
Because I didn't just, here are 3 tips on building your personal brand. No, it was like the reason why Mr. B, and I'm looking at my webcam, not the camera, and I'm like breaking down Mr. Beast's YouTube strategy, which I wouldn't necessarily do on a talking head video. I just wouldn't,
Yeah. And I think the perspective like of that camera angle, it is like a psychological like move, because it feels like you're in a position of authority. Like,
100.
oh, Omar's talking to someone
when
in
you
his
answer
office.
a question, you are in a position of authority.
Sure.
Because somebody's asking you a question.
Right.
Now, because you captured it and posted it, people are like, oh, people are asking them the question. The
Mhm.
person that's getting asked the question is the expert.
Yeah. And the camera's getting an inside look into that little
Right.
meeting or whatever.
Yeah, I remember I did a call for Justin and Ryan, and there was a moment where the guy asked a question, and I was like, "Can I like just give you like a hard coaching moment?" And he's like, "Please." And like that clip got like 800,000 views, and it was during Q&A. Like it wasn't even me doing my talk or my presentation. It was like he just asked a question, and I didn't realize that what I told this guy with Coach Omar hat.
Mhm.
It was like a trigger moment for everybody else, because I was telling people like, you believe that everyone's going to watch your content when you start out, when the reality is it's the least amount of people are going to watch your content, and no one will ever always see your stuff. So like create it. And I think it just like dig deep for people, because they're like, shoot, man, like I think everything we're going to post is going to be seen by everybody. And that's not the case. And so it hit a trigger. Now I have the data from a moment like that being captured to maximize on that trigger. I can create messaging around that, marketing around that. I can write an email about that. I could create a teaching around that. But like I didn't have to. It's almost like it's like the benefit of capturing things. Actually, because sometimes if you're truly an expert, you'll say things and not even realize like, I never thought of that before, but that's so true.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it happens all the time. Every time we do the call, I'm like, frick, man, that was so good. But yeah, so you could film yourself not saying anything, just film, or somebody else could film you, or you could do it when you're like actually talking. Specifically moments like leading a meeting. There's so many people that are in places and positions of leadership, and you host meetings, you host calls, and filming yourself do that. Even if you don't put your audible voice on that, but it's you and you just post it with a trending audio on Instagram, and you say 3 things when it comes to leading a team, blah, 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 all text. Like, I mean, the people say they don't have time to create content. It's like, there you go. Like, you are the content.
Your whole day is the content.
Your whole day is the content.
Yeah.
It actually I'm overwhelmed. Like, I get overwhelmed at the amount of opportunity there is to make content. Like, now I'm going to the gym and I'm like, shoot, if I can get somebody else to film me at the gym, I'm not trying to force Art to come with me to the gym all the time. But like when I'm at the gym and I'm doing like the selfie flow, it's cool, but it would be so much different if like while I'm sweating and on my phone, it was getting filmed. And then I post that and it's like, wealth is health, whatever. I don't know, whatever you like. It's about the perception, and we live in a world where perception is reality.
It's everything nowadays. Yeah.
That's why I try to expose and show people the opportunities, or like or like what you're missing out on. Like you're just missing out on people like knowing that you're doing you, you know? I wrote down on a call or consulting.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you do discovery calls, sales calls, coach calls, if you're on a phone call, talk about like, just put it on speaker, film yourself. I remember a friend hit me up and he said, Omar, I know he's like, you can write me an invoice for this call, but I really need help with my podcast. And it was 90 minutes of the greatest podcast game I could have ever done.
Did you record it?
I didn't.
Oh.
And I realized that was so good because of, it's not good because of what I said, it's good because of what he asked. And then secondary because of what I was able to answer with.
Mm-hmm.
But if that call was recorded, not only would there have been, an unlimited amount of content to post from that, you know? He asked questions like, what's your thoughts on like the name? Like how important is the name of your podcast? You know, I'm like, it doesn't matter. Just pick and go. It becomes something later on, you know, like, but I realized like if that call was recorded, I could have sent that to a publisher or a book writer or something. I could have had a book written.
Really?
100%.
On how to create a podcast.
It was literally from start to finish.
Wow. Did you invoice him?
No.
Oh.
But guess what? He didn't do it. He didn't do anything I said. And if you're watching this, you know who you are. I love you.
Dang.
But when you pay attention. That's literally the example. And dude, I love helping my friends. I'm here for it. I was the friend that wanted to once be helped. I was the friend that friends gave me advice and I didn't do anything with it.
What was his name? Say it.
No, that's messed up.
I'm just kidding.
But anyways, I say all that to say, like now I'm bummed when I do something and I'm like, shoot, that would have been cool to have been recorded.
But now you're more cautious about
100%.
like events and stuff like that and calls.
And so much of this is just intentionality, like you said.
Would you say you're at the place where everything is content? Like because you're you and the like field you're in versus like maybe an average person? Like not everything
I'm
in their
above
life.
average. I appreciate that, dude.
But for an average person, like not everything is content for them. Like their life isn't content.
I think that's a limiting belief
Okay.
Why do you think it's a limiting belief?
because I'm an average person.
Yeah, but you have, okay, so I think what he's trying to say is that like you're a person with it is unique, but like a niche skill set, right?
Which is what?
It's a high demand skill set. Hence why you have like all these followers.
I couldn't have planned that out.
No, right.
Yeah.
But he's saying like, you're at a place because of the type of person that you are, that your content will go like crazy for, because everyone's looking to upgrade their content, and that's what you do. You teach people how to brand, market, and upgrade their content.
No, I guess you could say that's like the meta way of looking at it. But when I think about a Cody Sanchez who talks about buying boring businesses and becoming a millionaire, like there's nothing cool about that. And she has millions of followers.
I think that's super cool. But
So she has made it look cool.
yeah.
She has made you think it's cool. This has been around for ages. It took somebody to make it interesting, attractive, attainable, achievable. Like it took somebody like her for us to be exposed. Like I think about Pace Morby with creative finance.
So that's the answer. So if you're listening to this, no matter what you're doing in business or as your career, you just have to make it look attractive.
Yes. But the thing is, and if you haven't listened or watched Myron Golden's episode prior to this one, please watch about it. Because we talk about operating from a place of values. And it's like, I'm attracting who I attract, not because I'm trying to attract them, but because I'm simply being who I am and showing who I am. That's like pretty much it, right? Like I think so much people are attracted to my brand because they love that I show my daughter a lot. Like she's a part of my brand. You know, golf is a part of my brand. Now, this is how you make what you do attractive. Like I posted a post while we were in Huntington Beach on vacay, and I posted a carousel of our family. And then I wrote I wrote the caption and I said, the life I'm creating for my kids is done through video. So now I'm making video more attractive. While I was away with my family, I got 17,000 views on my podcast times 2 because I was gone for 4 days. So it was like every 48 hours, I got 17,000 views. Like I'm painting this picture. That's the marketing brain though, you know? it's kind of going a little bit more deeper, but like, yes, like I think it is everyone's responsibility as entrepreneurs to make what you do look attractive or fun. Because here's why. Because the only reason why people do something in life is because they feel like it.
True.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you create the feeling for people to want to do something you're doing? By, in my opinion, it's by making it attractive. Like, we have a friend who, or one of the guys in our program, makes handmade leather goods. And we were at dinner, and some guy had a Louis Vuitton wallet that was $1,000, and his wallet, which he sells for like $300, and his wallet lasts a lifetime. The Louis Vuitton wallet was falling apart, and he's like, Louis Vuitton isn't a quality brand; it's a luxury brand. There's a difference. He's like, my brand's a quality brand. If this breaks, I say thank you, send it back to me, and I'll send you a brand new one. But it's not going to break. It's going to get better with time. But why do people buy Louis Vuitton?
Because of the name.
Because of the name. Like, they've created, when you buy something from them, you get a feeling.
Or status.
Yeah, status is a feeling. It's I feel better about myself.
Right.
As I wear Gucci loafers that are falling apart. I'm falling apart. All right. So that was like on a call or consulting. Make sure you film yourself. These are the opportunities for being the content. Another one is when you're giving a talk. I said like leading a meeting, but when I say giving a talk, dude, there are people that give talks. That,
like speakers?
Speakers.
Oh, okay.
And they don't film themselves on stage. So like you are on a pedestal and you don't show anything from that. Like, it blows me away. But I'm saying this is just an opportunity. So if you know you're going to speak at something, you're going to deliver. I mean, let's just say at like church, you know, that's why I love church. I love church because there's so much to learn from it. But like on a Sunday, how many people are giving talks? Like how many, like I don't see churches posting clips outside of the sermons. There's staff meetings, there's leadership meetings, there's kids meetings, there's small group trainings, there's courses happening, discipleship, and like no clips. But it's already happening. And I know this is like another industry, but I mean, like, I'm just saying, like, what's the principle here? The principle here is if somebody is on a stage, pre-plan to get it filmed. And sometimes you get it filmed to use the whole thing in post, like later, upload the whole thing. Other times you do it in the form of clips, just cutting up something. And then that promotes the next time it comes around, or that lets people know that you speak on stages. That lets people know that you're a leader of leaders. That lets people know that you are who you say you are and you do what you do, you know? It's surprising. It's surprising that like I had to say that, because it's like you would think that people at this point, but I think some people think it's like they get to the stage thing and they're so consumed with what it's going to be on stage, like what am I going to talk about, the slides and all that stuff, but you forget, like, let's just say there's 100 people in the room, you could post a clip from this. This literally happened with us in February of last year. Spoke at that real estate event.
Right.
Bro, it was ghost town. I thought there was gonna be way more people in the room. And I posted a clip talking about this concept, and it got hundreds of thousands of views. I actually think, as a believer, this is stewardship.
Why?
Because God asks his people that whatever I give you, you are to multiply.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is Matthew 25, 24, Matthew 17. I don't know. I'm like Bible dyslexic. I can't even say the word. But, you know, you give the talents, 1 talent, 2 talents, and 5 talents. The guy that got 2 and the guy that got 5 doubled it. And then Jesus says, well done, good and faithful servant. This guy, the guy that only got 1, was like, look, I hid it and nobody took it. And he said, you're wicked and lazy.
Oh, yes. I don't think it was about talents. It was about something else that they were talking about in the Bible.
They were talking about talents.
Was it?
Yes. I just broke it down.
I thought I read it and they were talking about something else. I think it was like crops or land.
I mean, there's probably something in there. But specifically, Jesus calls wicked and lazy somebody who does nothing with what they're given. So let's
Yeah.
say you're given the opportunity to speak on stage
Mm-hmm.
and you just spoke on stage and that's all you did. It could have been filmed, posted somewhere. You could have posted the whole thing somewhere. You could have posted a part of it somewhere and reached thousands, and you'll not have reached thousands. That doesn't apply for everybody. That just applies for people who care about multiplying what God's given them.
So if you're not posting content online,
you're out of the will of God.
2025, 2024, you're wicked and lazy.
Yeah. You are out of the will of God. And then this is the last thing I'll say about opportunities. This is why I love podcasting. So I say, like, consider starting a podcast,
Mm-hmm.
because podcasting is being the content. There is a little bit of an outline I've been following, but most of the time this is a conversation that has cameras just being captured. And then from this conversation, we will post the conversation. And from that full length thing, we will cut up clips.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been multiple times where clips have gotten millions of views, like from a conversation. Like, we didn't look into the camera and say the thing. We just simply posted the conversation and a clip. That was a valuable moment. I do love podcasting in that sense. Now, if you that's why I say, if you do Zoom calls and stuff, like, that's awesome too. You're live streaming, you're doing Q&A, do that. You get phone calls, make sure you film it. So those are just opportunities. I wanted people to get their gears turning. Like, where is the opportunity in what it is you do to be able to capture? Is it in the time where you're making the stuff? Is it when you're doing the call? Is it when you're giving the game? Is it when you speak at the workshop? Like, think about those things and then plan ahead. And I'll get into planning in a little bit. But I do want to really quick go into, like, how simple this could be gear wise. Okay. So I would consider, first, smartphones are incredible,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, they look really good at this point. If you haven't gone into Instagram, go inside your Instagram, change your upload settings to highest quality uploads. A lot of people don't do that. Just do that. And then make sure you film stuff on your phone if you have the space in 4K 30. But I think one of the biggest keys for this is to get a wireless microphone. A wireless microphone will allow you, doesn't matter where the camera or the phone is, it'll allow you to capture consistent audio. So even if you're doing a live stream with this in the shot, you're not going to use this audio. Use a microphone clip. Like, you can clip it on your shirt. Sometimes you can clip it on the mic. Or if you're giving a talk on stage, clip the mic. And I'll post a link to, like, my new favorite mic. It's actually a mic from
Hollyland.
Hollyland. It's like, dude, $150. Plugs in your phone, plugs in your Android, plugs in your iPhone, and it plugs into a camera.
Super, like, nifty, and it doesn't feel cheap.
Yeah, and it plugs into a computer or laptop. It's like the coolest thing.
Not sponsored by Hollyland.
I'm not sponsored by Hollyland, but if you buy it from the link I put in the description, but on your way to the link in the description, just be sure to click the Content to Cash Challenge, as this podcast is brought to you by the Content to Cash Challenge. If you think you're getting game right now, and if you got any game on the department and you're looking to grow your business with your brand and by posting videos online, check out the Content to Cash Challenge coming up and take VIP experience. So, camera or smartphone, a wireless mic will make your life easier. And I love that we love the Hollyland. I do think investing in a portable tripod. There's that one right there. You want to grab it real quick? I can just show people what I mean by a portable. It's all good, dude. See, we're just having he's grabbing it. It's literally right there. So, sounds like you have chanelas. Chanelas is like shoes in Spanish, but I think it's slippers. It's slippers in Tagalog.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Canelas.
Chanelas. Chanclas. So yeah, like a little look at this.
We actually give these away at our content workshops here.
We do, and which I'm excited for this week. We got a content workshop happening. If you don't follow me on IG, follow me on IG. But like this,
but if you have a phone and one of these, there's really no excuse anymore.
Dude, just put this, and I like the rear-facing camera, by the way. The camera on the back of your phones, they're just better. But whatever, if you want to see yourself, you could see yourself. That's fine too. But yeah, little nice little tripod. You could travel with this thing. It packs up really nice. But like, you throw this up in any context, plug in your wireless mic, bro, you good. You're good.
But like, even the mic is an addition.
Sure.
When we travel and maybe I don't have a moment to grab my camera, I grab my phone and I film BTS of you on the phone.
Yeah.
And
I'm fine.
it worked.
Yeah, showing is still so powerful. It doesn't matter necessarily the quality. And like sometimes if we can like do the quality thing, it's cool. It breaks the feed.
For sure.
It's a pattern interrupt. And yeah, you don't need the mic. And you don't need the mic because I talked about just filming yourself doing your thing.
Mhm.
Like, I know this sounds crazy, but like if you're traveling, like just set up your phone and like go sit down on the thing and just say on my way to talk to new agents. I don't know, like just show people that you do stuff, man. Like I think we all live a cool life. In all honesty, we all do something cool. We're all a part of something cool. Like we're
But genuinely, what if someone is like, Omar, I don't have anything going on though.
Like we can agree that they do. Like we can all say like in a perspective, like we all do have a cool life and it's very interesting. But sitting in our seat, our perception is like, oh, maybe I don't. But from the outside, it's like, yeah, you do. You get to film podcasts. That's so interesting to another person. But to you, it's your everyday routine.
Yeah, I think that's what you call the. I mean, it's in my world, it's called the curse of expert. It's just like kind of like what you think is basic, and that people would you would think people won't care about the basic stuff, like me just telling you about this portable tripod and telling you that there's a super cheap microphone while you're on Amazon right now clicking the link. That took nothing, but that's gonna do wonders for you. But the curse of expert is like, man, nobody wants to hear this basic stuff. It's too basic. It's like, no, it's not basic.
Yeah, but I'm trying to put myself in the mind of someone that like isn't doing what you're doing. They don't have a podcast. They aren't speaking on stages like you are. They aren't well connected in your industry like you are. But they are where you were at when you were filming your coach calls. But they don't have coach calls to film.
Okay,
that's where I'm trying to
helping people.
Right.
And record those.
And like, I forget who says it, but like, show people you can help people by actually helping people. So like when somebody's like, I don't do like nothing's interesting. I'm like, no, dude, how about this? Christian Mael. He was a youth pastor who grew his Instagram account to over, at this time, I think he has 120,000 followers on Instagram, maybe more. He would go to the coffee shop. Do you go to coffee shops?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Qualified. He would go to the coffee shop. Do you have a Bible?
I do.
Dude, sick. Do you have an iPhone?
I do.
Okay. He would film himself sitting down at a coffee shop, opening his Bible, drinking a sip of coffee, highlighting his Bible, and then he would post that as a reel. And he would say 3 books for beginners when reading your Bible. 3 books for dealing, or 3 scriptures that'll help you with fear. Like, that's why it's not an excuse, and I get it. Somebody like woe is me type of listener is always, there's always a,
if you don't have those 3 things at least, then you shouldn't be listening to this episode type thing.
What?
Like if someone was like, no,
the one thing
I don't have a Bible. No, I don't have a phone.
That you don't have this, you don't have a desire to help people. Because if that is your heart, is to serve, that's going to be your pathway to greatness. And so what you're saying is, dude, Omar, people aren't necessarily as great or perceived as great like you are. But the way I got here was I served, and I'm still serving. It's like, that's what the Bible says. The greatest, if you want to be great, you must be the greatest servant. So like, start by serving. I mean, obviously that's just a principle that applies in any, doesn't matter what industry or whatever. If everything that you're doing comes from a place and heart of service, this is kind of what being the content is, right? It's like, I'm like helping somebody on the phone that's asking me for help around something. And by me posting this conversation, that clip, it's going to help people understand what I just told this person. It's all because,
and then it's also bringing awareness to what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and that's why I wanted to remove people out of the way. Let's say you have nobody to talk to. Like Christian didn't have anyone to talk to when he was posting how to read the Bible.
Very true.
So I think some people wait. They wait to get on a stage. They wait for somebody to invite them. They wait. Like, go and get, bro. Lighting, I don't think lighting is necessary unless you're stationary. That's actually a bar. But if you can help it, like maybe you open up windows or blinds. Lighting isn't necessary though. If you're doing like web classes.
How can someone purchase a window if they don't have one?
Yeah, it's called a Mount Dog softbox light kit. It's $50, $70 if you want to. I'll put a link in the description. That's actually true. It's probably the same. So that's just basic gear. I just want people to know you might not even need the tripod on it. Like if you can get a person to help you film, you don't need a tripod. If you aren't talking, you don't need the mic. Like, dude, you need the phone. And then as far as cameras go, like Art's camera is pretty dialed. But if you want something that's like dynamic and maybe you're like my video person, it would be cool. I would say get a zoom lens, like a 24-70, and then get a camera that has in-body image stabilization.
I think you have my setup on the gear list.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
I got a gear list in the description. But yeah, like a camera that will be smooth if you're holding it. That's what in-body image stabilization is. Yeah, it's good stuff. And then the last thing I'll say when it comes to this is the key to all of this is to become more intentional when you communicate.
What do you mean?
When I have cameras rolling on me, one would say I'm not performing. I would say there's a part of me that's like, yes, I'm just being me. But then there's another element that like knows that opportunities will come from this conversation. So if I have a thought, I'm going to make sure I articulate and communicate that thought in a way that would be good to be clipped up in post. So sometimes I'll catch myself mid-tip and I'll rewind. Or if I know I'm being filmed and somebody asks me a question, I will repeat the question in my answer. And I do that because in post, when we can cut it, maybe we don't have to include that question. But because I was intentional behind. So even when you speak on stages, like you could speak, I don't want to say speak in sound bites, but you could speak in, I guess you could say in sequences where you're sharing a thought and you move on to the next thought and you move on to the next thought. I actually learned this from Jabin, like my pastor. He taught me like a structure when preaching is you could state, illustrate, and apply. So state would be like your hook or like maybe like the question or the reason why or, whatever, like that's the state moment. Illustrate is when you break it down, like break it down from the place of, here's XYZ, ABC, and then apply is like, this is how you do it. This is how you can do it. And like, if you watch his sermons, that's like all he's doing throughout his sermon. But in the same way, that principle still applies, like when you're just communicating. State. So somebody asked on today's call, how do you post your reels? I noticed that when you post reels, it fills up the whole screen. Okay. So when you're posting reels to your stories, there's one of two ways to do it. That's stating. Illustration. The first way is to just reshare it from your reels to your stories. If you click and tap, it's going to go full screen. The second way is to just upload that video file to your stories. It becomes a pattern interrupt. So next time you post your stories, here's the application. The next time you post your stories, or next time you post on stories, consider uploading your reels video file as opposed to sharing your reel so that you can keep people watching through their stories and they don't have to leave. Like state, illustrate, and apply. I just took an answer that I'm giving on a coach call and I created a piece of content from it, and then delivered on it in a very concise way.
So it's all like in bites for people to comprehend.
Yeah, and dude, there's some people that are on this podcast that literally talk in sound bites. Like I think Rory Vaden was one of them.
Oh yeah, he was easy to.
It
was easy to cut up.
Myron is one of them. Like master communicators, people who understand communication, they know that that's how we consume. So if you're just like long-winded and you don't really get anywhere, it's gonna be hard to like make those clips do something for you. So yeah, I would say just the key to all this is that you should become better at communicating, knowing that you're being filmed. And then there is like what's gonna happen is you're gonna get more confident in the filming and the posting. That like sometimes you'll miss the moment, like you'll miss the phone call, and it's like, dude, just hit record real quick, or I'm gonna record this. Hey, I just got off a phone call.
That's really good.
This couple, they only have $10,000 in their account, but they're still looking to buy their first home. And I told them that there is a possibility, blah, 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 blah. Like sometimes like it just makes you more aware. And it's just like with anything in life. Like I'm trying to get all fit now, and I'm just more intentional about the food I'm eating and all that stuff. And there's so much correlation between building your brand with video and posting content and like getting fit. You know, consistency is number one. Intentionality, being intentional of what I eat. I'm not just like eating anything. I'm watching what I'm eating. You know, I'm looking back on what I'm doing to improve where I'm going. Like there's just so much correlation there.
It's a lot of intention.
Yeah. So just being more intentional. And when you know a camera is rolling, you're just a little bit more tight, I guess, you know? But that is the premise that I wanted to share. Be the content. If you want to be consistent, more consistent than you are now, more consistent than you ever have been, look at the opportunities where a camera should be rolling, where a camera should be filming you, and post that clip, post that video. I know a lot of what I talked about today is very vertical video driven. Other than speaking on a stage, which you can upload that full talk somewhere, which I've done in the past. I've uploaded Zoom calls, live streams that I've done. I've uploaded those side angles to go and to coincide with my slide deck as full length videos. So like there is some like long form in this too, which could be another conversation for another day. But that was the game I wanted to give y'all. Be the content. Don't just make content. Be the content.
And make it attractive.
No, don't just make the content, be the content. And with that, I hope you join the Content to Cash Challenge if you're listening or watching this. And I would just ask, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe where you're listening or watching from, and we'll see you in the next department. Love y'all. Gang. She pointed peace at that camera.
Because I know that's yours.
All right.